So the Premier League returns on Saturday. Could champions Liverpool be set for another barrage of long balls and long throws when Sean Dyche and Nottingham Forest are in town? Charlie, Arne Slot has said they've not quite yet found the answer to direct play from their opponents. What do you think Sean Dyche would have made of those comments?
He would have took it in his stride, the comments, and like all managers in the Premier League, that's another tactic that we can do to beat Liverpool. So everyone goes on about Sean Dyche in a way, it's a Dyche ball and all this, it's a long ball. There's more to it, but it's any Premier
any manager who hears that, they're exactly going to prick up and go, oh,
of course it is. The opposition manager's showing us that as a weakness, telling us, but they're not showing us, telling us that there's a weakness in how we can't defend long balls. And everybody can see it themselves when watching games. Football, Liverpool don't react well to teams that go from back to front quickly. So it won't be a shock to anybody watching the game that it'll be a long ball game from Nottingham Forest.
Liverpool are a hard one to figure out at the moment, aren't they? Because, you know, after the Villa and the Real Madrid wins, you thought, oh, they're back. You know, played well, deserved to win those games. And then there's the City performance. So, you know, where are Liverpool at the moment?
They're in a tough position. They are, because the expectations of being defending champions, you have to perform the following season. And then the performance against City was lacklustre. You had the good result against Villa, performance against Madrid, then you go to City. And that's not taking anything away from Manchester City, by the way. I thought they was brilliant on the day, but Liverpool didn't throw up anything in regards to the game or give them any stress. Obviously, the goal got disallowed Virgil van Dijk, but other than that, they were easy pickings for Man City. Where they go from now, look, this game at the weekend could be a real difficult one again.
Yeah. Should we bring in a couple of fans on this?
Yeah.
Let's do it. OK, we've got a Liverpool fan, Connor Ray, with us, and a Nottingham Forest supporter, George Edwards. Morning, guys. Hope you're OK. Thanks very much for joining us this morning on Sky Sports FC. Connor, I'm going to start with you. Given what Slot has said about Liverpool struggling to deal with those long balls, when you look at Sean Dyche and Nottingham Forest, are they one of the last teams you'd like to face right now?
I think I'd sort of echo what Charlie said a little bit there, being totally respectful to Sean Dyche, I think. And he's an underrated manager, in my opinion. I've said that for you. Even when he was at Everton, I had to bite my tongue a little bit saying it then, but I've always felt he was a bit underrated as a manager. I don't think Slot saying that we struggle with long balls is going to have changed Sean Dyche's approach at all. He knows what he wants from his teams. He knows how to set them up. He sets them up difficult to play against and difficult to beat. And I don't think we'll see anything different in his approach. Slot's being honest, and that's been refreshing for us at times this season and last season as well.
But is that refreshing in this case, though, Connor? Because he's pinpointing a weakness. So all that's going to happen now is that Liverpool are going to get peppered even more by opposition who can play like that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, yeah, that's, yeah, you'd think so. But then I think that, again, I think we're talking about Premier League managers, aren't we? I think it's doing them down to say that they need Arne Slot to come out in a press conference to the wide world and say, you know, we struggle against long ball teams. And then suddenly Pep Guardiola's going to go, oh, in that case, I'll play long ball. I don't see that happening for Premier League managers. There's a reason they are where they are. And as Charlie says, it's not that simple. It's refreshing to hear that Slot knows what the issues are, that we struggle against long ball teams. Like, it'd be nice to see us do something about it now. I think that's the next step. At least he knows what the problems are. It'd be worse. I'd feel much worse about it as a fan if he was coming out every single weekend saying, I don't know why we're losing games. We're trying our best. You know, we're working hard. We should be winning these games and stuff, because that would just blatantly not be true. So, yeah, we'll see. But, you know, and we've struggled against Forest already without Sean Dyche as a factor as well. Last season, we didn't manage to beat Forest. We had a couple of good wins against them previously, but they've been tight games except for one, I think, in the last 3 years. And the season before that, we struggled against them as well. So whilst at home, Forest, it should be a winnable game for this Liverpool team, you just don't know which Liverpool's going to turn up at the moment.
Now, Forest have got a lot more than just playing long ball football, but the point is that there's definitely a movement this year in the Premier League towards a more direct style of play. Look at Arsenal, who are leading the way, and they play a very direct style of play. You know, some people argue that they score too much from set plays and not enough from open play. So my question to you, Connor, is that, you know, if Liverpool can't fix this defensively in terms of how to repulse direct play, then do you think it's going to be very hard for them to mount a title challenge?
Yeah, I think, I mean, we've seen before, haven't we, the Premier League, all the best Premier League managers adapt. You know, to come back to Pep Guardiola, he changed his style a couple of years ago with City. I mean, even buying Haaland at the time, was people in Haaland's first season at times were questioning whether he was the right signing for the way that they play football. And look at him now, that the best teams and the best managers adapt. And you're absolutely right. This season we're seeing a shift more towards set pieces and long balls, and Liverpool have been slow to adapt to that. And it is now, it's down to Slot. And I've said this before as well. Slot's got to find the answers now. It's all well and good him knowing what the problems are and saying what they are, but he's got to find the answers now. And if that means us dropping a bit deeper and sacrificing a bit of that pressing up top and things like that, then that's what we've got to do. We also, on that as well, we need to get better from defending set pieces as well. Our record for defending set pieces.
Connor, on that, sorry, jump in on there. But that was last year. It's right to say Liverpool didn't have to deal with long balls, etc. But yes, okay, Trent's gone is out of there. Kirk has been playing, but obviously Robertson's been back in. Konate and Van Dijk were still there. They were still having to defend. The number one principle is defend the box, defend crosses. Nothing's really changed. The only thing that's happened is the mistakes are happening and they're being capitalised on it by the opposition team, right? And we're going about how is it going to change, how is it going to improve? Well, they have to do it on the training pitch week in, week out. Do it in the games, because ultimately they can't bring no players in until January. And then the argument comes to it, well, Mark Gay is a perfect person to come in because the Konate saga continues. How they move on is start defending like it means the world to them, and not worry about it'll be okay because we've got Mohamed Salah to go and get us out of trouble and go and score goals. That's the truth. That last year that was because Salah's the talisman and everyone looked towards him. He was the one to go and get the goals, right? We concede one, we go and score two. Well, actually, do you know what? They don't work like that, and it hasn't been working like that since the start of the season.
Do you know what? And we said the same. A lot of Liverpool fans said the same last season. We saw at the end of the season, and particularly after January, when Salah's not firing on all fronts last season, that reliance on him was criminal at times, and the rest of the team weren't picking up the slack. It's why nowadays we're seeing a lot of revisionism about whether we were right to sell Luis Diaz because of how well he's doing at Munich. But you look at him last season in January, February, and the chances he was missing for us and not picking up that kind of responsibility. And if we've shared that burden across right as well. It's all well and good me sitting here and saying that Slot needs to fix things and to figure out what the issues are as well. But you're absolutely right. We need to cut out the individual errors, and they have really defined our season so far. It's been uncharacteristic at times from Van Dijk. Konate looks like his head's been turned at times this season as well. It was refreshing to hear him come out in the international break and say that he wants the contract situation resolved as soon as possible. Whether that leads to Gueye or not, it doesn't really make any difference to us fans. We just want to see them putting the performances in on the pitch and playing for the badge on the front of the shirt, right? And that's not been happening at all times this season. I got slated a couple of weeks ago because I came on and said I wasn't impressed with the form of Van Dijk, and thankfully he's picked it up since then a little bit. But you only have to look at the City game, and they were both miles off it again. And we can't keep letting that happen. Last season we won the league because every game, you're absolutely right, they were leading from the back all over teams straight away, playing like their lives depended on it. And this season that's been missing for sure.
George, I want to get your thoughts in a moment as to what kind of approach we will see from Forest against Liverpool. But first of all, important win against Leeds, but you're still in the bottom three. How worried are you about the possibility of relegation? Can this Forest squad, can it really get relegated?
Of course it could. I mean, anything can happen in the Premier League, and I think you've seen in past seasons far better squads than Forest squad get relegated. Obviously, if you'd have told us at the start of the season, finishing 7th with the Europa League campaign ahead of us, that we'd be 19th after a quarter of the season, we all wouldn't have believed you. But a lot has happened this season. I think now we're on the right path, but we're still 19th. Sean Dyche just came in. He sort of eradicated all of the defensive issues with Ange Postecoglou. And if he was still there, I don't think we'd be talking about a potentially tight game. I think it looked like Liverpool would just run about 5 goals through us. But now we look a lot more solid. We look defensively sound. We look comfortable with what we're doing. And yes, we're 19th. We have to pick points up soon. And I think that's why, even if we lose at Liverpool, it might look disappointing because we've got Liverpool and Everton, our next 2 away games. I think we've got to get something out of them, along with Brighton, Wolves coming after that as well. So we're a lot more of a harder team to beat, and I think we're a lot more confident, but we're still 19th. And until we're mathematically safe, anything can happen in the Premier League.
George, on that, I've got to be honest, that's refreshing to hear a fan come out and say that is the situation, because that is it. But I truly see Sean Dyche, the coaching team that he has, to real turn that around, and the squad you've got to go going forward. Looking forward to the weekend's game against Liverpool. How they're going to play, it's not all about long balls, etc. Sure, I remember years ago it was always position more than possession. Don't worry about keeping the ball in your own half, get it up into the opposition half. And ultimately, that's what's happened when teams have gone and played against Liverpool. Yes, it's all about long balls, etc. But if they ain't got the ball in their own half and it goes in Liverpool half, they sometimes they've been struggling to deal with that, and it's shown, and the results have shown. But it's easy to turn around and say, oh, it's all about long balls. Liverpool can't defend long balls. Actually, they're struggling they're in their first third. So I expect Sean Dyche to really capitalise on that over the weekend.
And Sean Dyche's strength over his managerial career has been targeting long balls, but that's not what it is all about, and that's not all Forest are about. Forest were the only team to beat Liverpool until they became champions last season. And look at the goal we scored. That was second half, 2 wingers, through Liverpool in our box, and then in 10 seconds we're on the edge of their box scoring a goal. Here we go. And 10 seconds earlier we were defending a corner, I think. So there's not a lot in that. That has been our strength. Attacking play out wide. I think we lost Elanga to Newcastle over the summer, and that sort of halted our wide play. But we've got a lot more than long balls, and then with Chris Wood coming back as well, our defence looking a lot more solid. I think we will be a hard team to beat. A lot of the success, I think, last season with obviously getting 4 points off Liverpool came from Nuno and his tactical nous, particularly the Anfield game, where he packed the midfield from the start and then brought the wingers on to win us the game. I think maybe Dijk isn't as good a tactician as Nuno, but he still knows how to set up a team in the Premier League, and he's taken points on Liverpool before. So I think it will be a very tough game for Liverpool, and it's one that Forest have to target to get something from.
And from excellent. Sorry, guys, got to cut in. They're running out of time, I'm afraid. Sorry, George, but excellent calls from both of you. Very, very considered thoughts. Really appreciate that. Do call in again soon, yeah? Liverpool, Manchester City and Spurs are 3 clubs who are monitoring him ahead of the transfer window. So who should trigger that clause? Semenyo's made a terrific start to the Premier League season. Only Erling Haaland has more than his total of 9 goal involvements, which includes 6 goals plus the 3 assists. So, the question is, first of all, Charlie, when you look at some of the money that was paid for other players around the summer, I mean, different position, for example, as well, Elliot Anderson, apparently there's a £100 million price tag has been put on him by Nottingham Forest. He's in demand from big clubs too. Is £65 million quite cheap for someone of Semenyo's quality?
Sounds mad saying this, but going on the market and how everything is, absolutely is. It is cheap. I mean, you even go back to the goal that he's obviously scored then opening Premier League night against Liverpool, and the performance he put in, he gave Kirk as a real big problem, scored the goal. It was a fantastic performance by him that night, and then it's continued that on all the way through the start of the season. Look, I think 65 million is a snippet to get him, and the biggest thing is he's only young. He's progression. The way he's performing week in, week out for them, he has made himself Bournemouth's talisman.
So Liverpool, Manchester City and Spurs are all monitoring. Who needs him the most? Who should trigger that release clause?
OK, well, let's go with the team that, in my opinion, don't need him and crying out for a centre-forward is Spurs. So let's put a line through.
Spurs don't need him?
I don't think Spurs... It's not that they don't need... Every club needs an Antoine Semenyo, but what I'm saying is Spurs should put their money down to a number 9. They don't have an out-and-out number 9. I've seen them play and, listen, they don't have a goal scorer. So put a line through them. The crying out one on the side is Man City or Liverpool. Look, they're the top teams and the ones that have got the money to go and get him. But I just think Antoine Semenyo is the perfect in-time replacement for Mohamed Salah.
That's what fans agree at the moment. Liverpool top of the pole.
So why not learn from him? Why not learn from him for 6 months? And if next summer Liverpool do decide to sell Mohamed Salah and it's time to move on, I'm not saying that will, but he's had 6 months learning from that. But also he's going to play as well. The argument to it is, and the way you look at it is, Bournemouth's level of expectation to Liverpool Man City's expectation is completely different. So can he adapt to playing them? Play for the cameras that are on you all the time, Champions League football performances. But what we've seen so far at the start of the season, absolutely.
Do you think a big tick in his box is that he can play on the left or right, really? He's one of those left footers that's actually comfortable playing on the left. I know a lot of managers now like to have a right-footed winger on the left, left-footed winger on the right, but he seems very comfortable on both.
it's versatile, which sounds silly, don't it? Even saying that now, and especially the way the football's gone, it's like to play opposite wingers almost. But for me, he's one of them players that can play in any position and will play in any position and perform to his best of his ability. And like I say, the opening day was the biggest one for me. At Anfield, the performance he put in was eye-opening, and look, he's carried on. He's continued his form on, hence why we're having that conversation now.
Okay. Well, Sky Sports have partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. If you want to represent your club, then scan the QR code here or visit the Sky Sports app for more details. We're going to speak to a Bournemouth fan, Jim Chapman now. I don't think Jim will totally agree with some of the things we've just been saying about the possibility of Semenyo leaving. But, Jim, what do you think about the price, first of all? £65 million. Is that a fair price for Antoine Semenyo?
No, not at all. No, it should be more than that, I would say. 65 million would be a steal for any club. Two-footed, attacking, goals, assists. What he brings to a team, especially in money at the moment, like crazy money being chucked around, 65 is way too cheap. The
problem is we are hearing that the price is going to fall in the summer. So if that's the case, you don't want him to go for 40 or 50 million. So should Bournemouth cash in January?
Again, I don't know. I don't want him to go at all. I haven't actually heard that he wants to go. I've heard about the release clause. I've heard that the clubs are interested in him, which they're obviously going to be interested in him because he's a talent. Ideally, don't want him to go, but if he does go, want the most money for him. And if it's less than 65, something is going wrong.